Throughout history, countless rulers have risen and fallen, but only a few had the power to reshape the destiny of entire civilizations. 5 empires, 5 worlds, and 5 leaders whose names broke through the walls of time to reach us today. In this video, we explore the rulers who didn't just conquer lands, but redefined what leadership means. Cyrus the Great, the king who conquered Babylon without lifting a sword and taught humanity the meaning of justice and tolerance. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who proved that true strength lies not in power, but in wisdom and inner calm. Suleiman the Magnificent, the ruler who united law, culture, and military might, leading the Ottoman Empire into its golden age. Kublai Khan, the master strategist who transformed the Mongol legacy into a powerful, organized empire and rewrote the history of Asia. And finally, Emperor Meiji, the visionary who turned an isolated feudal nation into a modern world power within a single lifetime. This is not just history. This is the story of 5 great rulers who shaped the world as we know it. If you're ready, let's travel deep into time and discover the leaders who changed everything. Cyrus the Great was not just a conqueror. He was the architect of one of the greatest empires the ancient world had ever seen. Born around 600 BCE in the rugged lands of Persia, Cyrus rose from a small mountain kingdom to become the ruler of a vast empire stretching from the Mediterranean to the edges of India. But what made Cyrus truly extraordinary was not the size of his empire. It was how he ruled it. When he conquered Babylon, he did something no ancient king had ever done before. He freed the captives instead of enslaving them. He respected the gods and cultures of the conquered people, and he abolished the cruel customs that had defined empire building for centuries. His Cyrus Cylinder is often called the world's first declaration of human rights, a revolutionary idea for its time. To his people, he was a liberator. To his enemies, he was a ruler worthy of respect. To history, he became the gold standard for leadership grounded in justice, mercy, and wisdom. Cyrus the Great proved that an empire could be powerful without being oppressive, and that true greatness comes not from fear, but from earning the loyalty of millions. He didn't just build an empire, he built a legacy, one that still inspires leaders thousands of years later. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's rarest leaders, a ruler who guided Rome not only with armies, but with his mind. Standing at the very peak of power, he did not cling to glory. He clung to wisdom, virtue, and inner peace. In the 2nd century AD, the Roman Empire had reached its greatest borders, yet the weight of this vast world rested on the shoulders of a single man, Marcus Aurelius. On one side, brutal wars, plagues, rebellions. On the other, a simple question he constantly asked himself: how can a person be good? He did not think in marble halls, but in military tents. He wrote not in comfort, but under the echoes of battle. And from this life came one of the greatest works of philosophy, Meditations. Every line teaches us something: to be patient, to be just, to think before we act, to master our emotions rather than be ruled by them. For Marcus, power was temporary, but virtue was eternal. He defended an empire with the sword, but he shaped himself with words. Even as emperor of the largest empire on earth, he lived like a humble soldier, modest, disciplined, thoughtful. And that is why he became known as the Philosopher King, a ruler who used power not for dominance, but for humanity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of one timeless truth: the greatest victory is not conquering nations, but conquering yourself. Suleiman, the ruler who rose not only to lead an empire, but to define an era. In the 16th century, when the world was divided by power, faith, and ambition, one man stood above them all. Suleiman the Magnificent, the lawgiver, the sultan who shaped the destiny of 3 continents. He ascended the throne at just 26. But youth did not weaken him, it ignited him. From the gates of Belgrade to the walls of Rhodes, from the heart of Europe to the deserts of Arabia, his empire expanded like the rising sun. Yet Suleiman's greatness was not measured only in battles won or lands conquered. It was measured in the laws he wrote, the justice he established, the balance he brought to a world trembling between order and chaos. He was a poet who wrote of love, a commander who feared nothing, and a ruler who believed that true power comes not from the sword, but from fairness. Under his reign, the Ottoman Empire became a center of art, culture, architecture, and diplomacy. Mosques touched the sky, scholars flourished, trade routes connected civilizations, and for nearly half a century he held the world in a delicate harmony of strength and reason. But even the greatest rulers carry hidden burdens. Behind the palace walls, Suleiman faced betrayal, heartbreak, and painful decisions that would shape not just his empire, but his own soul. Still, history remembers him with one name, the Magnificent, because few leaders have ever combined power and wisdom so completely or ruled with such grandeur, justice, and human depth. Kanuni Sultan Suleiman reminds us of a timeless truth. True greatness is not only what you conquer, but what you build. Kublai Khan, the grandson of a legend, born into the thunderous shadows of Genghis Khan, yet destined to cast a shadow of his own. In a world torn by endless conquest, he rose not only as a warrior, but as a visionary who would reshape the face of Asia. From the cold steppes of Mongolia to the vast cities of China, Kublai watched empires rise and fall. He understood something no other conqueror of his time did. To rule the world, you first had to understand it. When he ascended to power, the Mongol Empire was powerful but fractured. Kublai Khan transformed it. He built not just armies, but systems, not just victories, but civilizations. Under his rule, the Yuan dynasty was born, the first time in history that all of China was governed by a foreign power. But Kublai was no ordinary conqueror. He embraced Chinese culture, supported scholars, welcomed traders, and opened the empire to the wonders of the Silk Road. Caravans arrived from Persia, Arabia, India, and even distant Europe. Marco Polo himself traveled thousands of miles to witness the brilliance of Kublai Khan's court, a world of glittering palaces, scientific invention, and unmatched wealth. Yet behind the grandeur stood a man of discipline, a ruler who knew that expansion meant responsibility, and that power meant maintaining balance between tradition and change. Kublai Khan was more than a Mongol emperor. He was a bridge between civilizations, a leader who turned his people's nomadic legacy into an administrative masterpiece that would shape Asia for centuries. His legacy echoes in every map of China, every story told along the Silk Road, every empire that rose on the idea that strength and knowledge must walk side by side. Kublai Khan reminds us of a simple truth. Conquest builds an empire, but wisdom keeps it alive. Emperor Meiji, the young ruler who took a closed feudal Japan and transformed it into a modern world power. When he came to the throne, Japan stood still while the world raced ahead. Meiji changed everything. He opened the country, built railways and factories, modernized the army, and turned ancient traditions into the foundation of a new future. In just one generation, Japan leapt from samurai swords to modern industry and global influence. Emperor Meiji proved that true leadership isn't just ruling, it's guiding a nation into a new era. History is full of rulers, but these five leaders reshaped the world with their vision and courage. Their decisions changed empires, transformed nations, and redirected the course of human civilization. And remember, sometimes the vision of a single leader can define the future of an entire world.